Thanks very much, Norm. Hello, I'm Pippa, and I'm an education liaison coordinator at the Ronald McDonald House charity at Parkville. I've recently joined. I've only been here for 3 months, so please forgive me for if I'm not able to answer all of your questions or know everything. But I'm so delighted to be talking to you today. Very special group of people, and it's particularly poignant for me because my brother Tom, who's 36, was surfing back in the UK last year. And he had a cardiac arrest in the water and was taken somehow. He got to hospital, and it's found out we found out that he's got a arrhythmogenic right ventricular myopathy, cardiomyopathy. So it's been a big learning curve for our family. He's got 3 little children, and so we're just getting our heads around all the psychosocial aspects. So you guys are all well ahead of us, and I'm just so impressed with you all in terms of what you've already dealt with and gone through yourself. So anyway, I hope I can be constructive in contributing something useful in this presentation today. So the mission of Ronald McDonald House Charities is to create and find and support programmes across Australia that help seriously ill children and their families. And today I'll be talking about the Ronald McDonald House charity, but also talking about other supports given my sort of education, with my education hat on. And key transition milestones: kinder to primary, primary to secondary, then secondary on to vocational and tertiary education aspects as well. And I'll also mention some of the family rooms and some of the retreats as well that the organisation has in terms of providing holistic care for the families. So our programmes, we've got the house, the learning programme, which is what I'm involved in. Sorry about the mic, I hope I'm not too doing. The family room, the retreat, the care mobile, the Charlie Bell scholarship, which I'll go into a bit more detail about because that's poignant for the education aspect. The Ronald McDonald grants and the blood cord banks. So the Ronald McDonald houses, there are 14 houses throughout Australia and many more throughout the world. So you have a home away from a home, and I would imagine that some of you might already have come across some of the houses here in Australia. I'm part of the Parkville House, just around the corner from the hospital, where I work with the learning programme team. We have bases in Victoria in the form of family rooms as well, regionally in Wodonga, and also with the growth of the corridors in the southeast, a family room and house at Monash Medical Centre. Again, you might be familiar with these. So it's a home away from home, and hopefully as a family, whichever hospital you're attending, you can hopefully access a whole range of our facilities and programmes. There's a new one, I think there's a new one coming up in Perth, which we're doing a lot of fundraising for at the moment, so that's very exciting. Oh, I can see a typo already. I do apologise for that. Moving on to some external supports that we tap into a lot with our learning programme, and also with the sort of the digital aspect of things and young people and how they engage. These can be quite powerful ways of keeping connected. So Livewire is part of the Starlight Foundation, and it's dedicated to meeting the needs of adolescents and their siblings living with serious illness, and it's a safe and supportive online community for 10 to 20-year-olds, where members can connect and share experiences with others who understand what they're going through. So it can be quite a powerful way of engaging for our young people. So all you have to do is you just hop on. It's really easy to register. Hop on that website online. Another fantastic network support is I don't know how this organisation, I don't know how that happened. I do apologise again. But Sibling's Advocacy Network, there's not much funding attached to this organisation, but they do an amazing job with all the resources they do have. Hence, much of the connection is done online and via email, and they've got some really good resources on their website for siblings, and also for yourselves, some really good books, really good books. Because we recognise that for siblings, it's really important to support them as well through our different journeys, and keeping connected is so important for them to feel that they're being listened to and noticed. CHIPS, I would imagine that maybe some of you know of CHIPS, but I just thought I'd plug them because they're a fantastic service. Again, it's a chronic health illness peer support programme, and it's a fabulous peer support service based at RCH for 12 to 25-year-olds. So this is the commitment is to attend an 8-week peer support group or 2-day intensive group at the weekend if they can't manage that. And it's a group setting, so it's a really great way of a whole group getting together and engaging with peers. And if they transition away from RCH, it's possible to link in and stay in touch with friends that they've made through this programme. And it also, for some of them, it provides opportunities to socialise with peers away from school, because sometimes it's nice to have a completely different group of people with whom you can interact and talk to, who have experienced similar situations. So it's really good for that. And they do leadership training as well, and it's fantastic for building their confidence. So it's brilliant. And I understand that parents, I think some of the 8-week courses happen in the evening, and parents can hang out and have a coffee together. And it's nice for you to also have some time and space to maybe have a bit of a chat with each other as well. So referrals have to be made through the hospital, but Beck, who's speaking after me, as part of the transition services team, can make referrals. So do talk to Beck about that, as well as the website, which is there. On to education transition milestones. I've got a bit of a thing about it. I'm sorry if I'm teaching Grandmaster Suck Eggs and so forth, but on our learning programme we find that to be a really important aspect, and it can be so stressful for parents as well. So I just thought I'd quickly touch on that. So starting off with the transition from kinder to primary, as you can see, so throughout the year it's possible to start thinking about, and I'm sure that's what you'd be doing anyway, but there's some nice supports which help you on that journey. I'm going to draw your attention to the Sharing Our Journey parent kit. I don't know if all of you are in Victoria, but that's a resource from the Department of Education and Early Childhood Development. But I would imagine that every education department in Australia has its own version. But you can have a look online. They provide good checklists for any parent really in any part of Australia, and it's important to gather your medical reports and things like that, so that you're sort of empowering yourselves to take all these things up and to be quite and to be confident in approaching and finding out about good school contacts in primary school. I think it can be quite a battle sometimes for parents actually to really nail down who someone in the school is going to be, that person, and it's really important for you to really go for that and to make as much headway as you can, because it can sometimes feel a bit tricky, but I really encourage you to keep on with that. And then it really helps set the scene from the word go. Then you're okay. You've got a good grounding for those primary school years if you're able to do that. I don't know whether many of you have heard about the students of the SSG, which is a student support group meeting. But that can be quite powerful as well in getting those key contacts around the table and having that meeting with them, and sharing that medical information about your child. That's a good thing to do. So you can talk to your kindred about that, because they would know. And again, so that where that kit comes from is the website's just at the bottom there. And moving on to transition from primary to secondary school, again, it's all about the talking to people, and do it as early as you can. It's never really too early. Getting to know the key school contacts in secondary school is important. To go to as many open days and evenings as you can. And again, it's just about talking to people, and that's how we found in all aspects of our life, we find our nuggets of gold through hearing about things. And the same goes for a really good school with a strong pastoral team. So that's. And it goes on, so it starts to get the formalities in grade 6. The school will assist with all the medical information aspects, and if your child has a special needs plan, that the school will organise all of that as well. But it's just good to keep in the loop with everything, and don't feel that you can't keep asking the school questions and so forth. Again, I'll just draw your attention to some other good resources, which is the Department of Education and Early Childhood Development have got a really good tick list and quite a good page for transition there to secondary school, and the Catholic Education Office does too. So even if you're not in a Catholic school system, it just provides good checklists, and it's a really good information tool, that one. And then on to secondary school and looking at senior secondary school and beyond. So sort of at year 10 and upwards. I'll just mention Beck's team, which is the RCH Transition Services team based here at RCH. They're fantastic. Beck's going to talk to you more about the transition from this hospital up to adult hospitals, but they've got some fantastic fact sheets and information on the website as well. I just from my perspective, disruption to education can be quite stressful for your young people, but also for yourselves. So I think the thing to bear in mind is that there's always flexibility around study options. It doesn't have to be that rigid pathway. If they're not doing VCE in the time frame they're supposed to be doing it in, there's panic and it's all going to go wrong and their future's going to be, it's all going to be carnage. But in fact, there's always other ways of looking at things and doing things to tailor. The idea is really to tailor your study options to suit your health conditions. So to look at it like that, so you've got control. TAFE and vocational education have just been fantastic over the last few years, and there's so much choice and ways of doing things now. You don't have to be in a school necessarily. You can be in an adult environment and doing VCE. There are loads and loads of options. So that I would say the people to speak to probably are the VCE coordinator and your careers advisors at school. But there's no harm in doing your own research either. And we also hold the learning programme holds a Study with Your Health Not Against It youth forum every June. We do that in partnership with Beck's team, and that's a space where all the young people come and they can hear about things like applying for Cs and VTAC. I'm sorry if not all of you are Victorian, but we also had parents who came this year, and one of the hot questions were VTAC and how to go about doing the Cs, the Special Entry Access Scheme, and also special provisions, so things like extra time in exams, how to go about that. So there's lots of information in these booklets here on all of these. Again, this is Beck's team's booklet. It's fantastic. I've put some out at reception, but they've got all the websites and all that. They've got a brilliant timeline at the back. So it's a really good tool. This, so do grab one. And onto the Charlie Bell Scholarship. So the learning programme and the charity offer Charlie Bell scholarships, and there are 11 scholarships annually. They're valued at $5,000 each, and something important is that it doesn't have to just be going to university. It's for also any, like a TAFE course, a vocational education course as well. So it's very open, and it's chosen by the houses. So I think it's the board, or I think it's the, I'm just trying to see. Yeah, the selection committee is made up of members of the board and management of Ronald McDonald House. It's not an arduous process. I think it's 500 words to apply why you want it. 2 written references, one can be from a school, and the deadline is the 30th of September, so you've got time, your young people have time. And it's 15 to 20 years of age. So again, a vocational or tertiary, and have had a serious health condition, and this includes your cardiac conditions, and have received treatment in one of the main hospitals. So it's pretty open. I would encourage you strongly to go for that. And that's the link if you wish to apply. That's on our website. I've got a few copies of that out at reception as well if you want to pick up a copy, but that's the key link. I'm onto our learning programme, which is what I'm part of. So the learning programme was created because we have such a significant number of young people who've been diagnosed with chronic illness, and heart conditions are amongst the most prevalent. So you guys are there's a big cohort of children and young people here in our learning programme. And of course, education. It's really about supporting them for the long run. So the target group is serious. They've got serious illness. They've missed significant schooling. So anything up to some children have missed up to a year. Some have missed about a term. That kind of time frame. Big flexibility in terms of age. So starting school right up to the end of school. Mainstream schools. Because the idea is that they haven't got eligibility for integration funding, which means that they've got that, it's important for them to have that support, if they otherwise wouldn't necessarily have, well enough to benefit. So generally they're recovering, or they've recovered, and are well enough to attend school in terms of 3/4 time, something like that. So they're able to take on the extra tuition as well as everything else that they're doing, and they want the service. So what I wanted to say to you today was you as parents can make referrals on behalf of your child or young person. The referral forms are on our website. So we don't get many referrals from parents, and we would love to see more parents referring. So do feel free to make that referral. It also the tuition is accompanied by also an assessment from an educational psychologist. And an occupational therapist, it depending on the situation and what the needs are. So it's a huge benefit, and it's all free. So I sometimes go to the meetings with the tutor and the school and the family to set the tuition up. It's 40 weeks. And it's an hour long, so generally it's about once a week. Primary students is done in school time. There's usually a slot in the day in that week. Secondary schools, sometimes if the young person feels a bit awkward or doesn't really want everyone to know about it, it happens after school, or it can happen in a public library, but it just can't happen at the home tutor for OHS reasons. But so it goes on for give or take a year, but it is flexible, and you can have a graduation party at the end in a Macca's restaurant with some balloons if you wish. So what's not to like? And another aspect of the learning program is EdMed. Again, this is teacher professional development. And you as parents can also go to the school and say to the school, this is free for you. You're welcome to contact the learning program to get this up and running. That's the key. It's free to schools, and you can advocate for this to happen in your school. It's beneficial for teachers because they understand how to better support students. They get a resource book, and they get PD, which contributes to their teacher registration. So it's fully it's a comprehensive PD. And there's even a special section there on heart disease. So usually it's done in a staff meeting time, so all the staff get to hear it, and it's all free, and schools really love it. Actually, they find it to be really helpful. And then finally, onto the family rooms. This is a concept which they're growing and growing. They're actually in the hospitals, but they're just a place for families where you can just relax, and there are all those facilities there. And the rooms in the hospital, some are attached to neonatal units. There's one in Wodonga which is attached to the neonatal units. Plans to build a further 15, very optimistic, and that's great. And that's the Monash room. And finally, the retreats. So this is holiday accommodation for you. It is completely and utterly free. All you have to do is get yourselves there, and it's a free holiday. So and all these beautiful parts of the country. And I understand there's one being constructed in Victoria down at Ocean Grove. But it's maybe not in this weather. But I'll be going up to North Queensland. But it's a really wonderful thing, and you can download again off our website, or just call that number and get yourselves booked in. It's fantastic. It's totally free, and it's a lovely holistic. It's a lovely thing. And finally, yes, that's me. So thank you so much. Thank you for your time.